All right, welcome to the last video for 7.EE.4 Goal 2. This is solving multi-step inequalities and equations. So with this video, you are going to not only understand how to solve inequalities if you have to use the distributive property or combine like terms, but you're also going to learn how to solve equations that possibly have no solutions or infinite solutions. And that whole concept is actually pretty fun. So let's with a couple of problems to start out with. Our first couple of problems. Let's solve 3 times d plus 2 is equal to 12. And then we also have 4 times x minus 2 is greater than 6. So to start out with, let's do the first problem here. 3 times d plus 2 is equal to 12. We've solved problems like this before. This problem only requires us to use the distributive property. So let's do exactly that. Let's use that distributive property. We are going to say 3 times d plus 2 or plus, let's keep it in the same format, 3 times 2. That is equal to 12. Now from here, let's get that equality thing, or that equal sign, the balance going on. So we have 3d plus 6 is equal to 12. From there, let's subtract 6 from both sides, and 3d is equal to 12 minus 6 is 6. And last step, let's divide by 3 on both sides, so we get simply d is equal to 2. We could put that back into the equation. If we put 2 in for d, we have d plus 2, or 2 plus 2, which is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 is equal to 12. Let's do this next problem, and let's do this inequality that we have going on. The only difference between this inequality and the equation is the actual inequality sign that we see here. That is the only difference, okay? Do not freak out because you see an inequality sign. We know how to deal with this. When you deal with an inequality, deal with it just like you have in the past with an equal sign that's there, except if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, then we have to pay attention to that inequality. Otherwise, act just like it's not there. So our first step, let's do the distributive property. We have 4x from this situation, and now let's do 4 times negative 2. So we have essentially, let's actually rewrite this negative 2 as plus a negative, so we have a plus right there. 4 times a negative 2, 4 times a negative 2 is greater than 6. So do the math. 4x plus negative 8 is greater than 6. Let's finish off that math. Let's just add 8 to both sides. And we get essentially 4x is greater than 14. We're then going to divide by 4 on both sides. So we essentially have x is greater than 14/4. We can simplify that. We can divide by 2 on the top and the bottom. So we end up with 7/2. X is greater than 7/2. So any number greater than 7/2 or 3.5 will work for this problem. So if we put in a 4, it would work. So let's put in 4 here. 4 plus a negative 2 is equal to 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So 8 is greater than 6. And so this of 14 is greater, or x is greater than 14/4, or 3/2 works. Let's do a couple of practice problems, and then we'll be on our way. Practice problems. Here's your first one, or first two. I want you to do these, pause the video, and then check your answers with my work that I do shortly. So please do these first on your own scrap paper. Checking our work. So let's first do our distributive property. We have 3 is equal to 4 times x, 4x, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 3 is equal to 4x plus 8, so we can then subtract 8. 3 minus 8 is negative 5, is equal to 4x. And then from there we can divide by 4. So our answer is negative 5/4 is equal to x. 5/4 is equal to x, so we could put that information into our equation and we could actually figure it out, see if it works out. Now, our next equation, we have 4 times b minus 3 is less than or equal to 72. Remember, we're just acting like this is essentially an equal sign until we have to do a positive or negative multiplication or division, or negative multiplication or division. So let's start out with 4 times b, 4b, and 4 times negative 3, or 4 times plus a negative 3. So we have plus a negative 3, which is negative 12, is less than or equal to 72. From there, let's add 12 to both sides. So 4b is less than or equal to 72 plus 12 is 84. From there, let's divide by 4. So b is less than or equal to 84 divided by 4 is 21. B is less than or equal to 21. So we could do 20 and try B in there, or 20 for B, and see if that works out. But this is our final answer, just like the negative 5/4 was our final answer. Tricky, tricky problems. Let's do something else now. So our next concept that we need to work on for this particular concept, or for what we're doing here, is this. We need to solve and graph on a number line. We have 5a minus 8 is greater than or equal to 4a minus 3. Big problem, but we can handle this solution. We can handle this by saying, well, let's break this down. We have 4 times a minus 3. That's essentially, I know I need to use the distributive property, so we have 4a minus 12, and that is 5a minus 8. So 5a minus 8 is greater than or equal to 4a minus 12. I see terms on both sides that balance each other, or they're the same. So I see a 5a and a 4a, and I see a negative 8 and a negative 12. That tells me I need to combine my like terms, and I'm going to have to do it by moving things across that inequality. So let's start it out by saying I see a 5a on one side and a 4a on the other. I am going to create a positive a. So if I subtract 4a, that is easier than subtracting 5a, because then I'd have to do that. Then I'd have to divide by negative 1 and change or flip the inequality, and that's a mess. So we end up with a minus 8 is greater than or equal to negative 12. From there, I can add 8 to both sides. So a is greater than or equal to negative 4. From there, I need to graph this on a number line, and we've learned this already. We need to designate an origin, sort of starting point, and then let's find a negative 4. From there, I need to make a filled in circle because this is a greater than or equal to. The equal to means it's going to be a filled in circle, and anything bigger than that, negative 4, and equal to that negative 4 is going to work for this inequality. So now that is graphed. Let's do this next problem. I would like you to do this first on your own, and then I will go through it. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you worked yourself through this problem. We have negative 2 times k plus 1 is less than negative 16 plus 5k. So we need to solve and graph the inequality on a number line. And so let's do just that. So let's make our line, and actually let's do our distributive property. So we have negative 2k is equal to, or minus 2 is less than negative 16 plus 5k. All right, negative 2k plus 2 is less than negative 16 plus 5k. So the easy way to go about this, because I have a positive number already here over with the variable, I'm going to add 2k to both sides. Undo that. So I'm going to combine like terms. So I just have a negative 2 is less than negative 16. 5k plus 2k is 7k. And the reason why I did that is that just keeps all of the stuff with the variable positive, so I don't have to multiply or divide by a negative number, because that just makes a mess. So look for those easy little tricks. If you end up doing something different, whatever. You did something different, and that's just going to make your life a little more difficult, but it's not that big of a deal. So now let's add 16. So we're continuing to combine like terms. So we have positive 14 is less than 7k. And now we can divide by 7. So 2 is less than k. 2 is less than k. So now let's graph this. Let's have our 0 somewhere. So let's indicate a 0. And then after that, let's find a 2. And we are going to make an open circle for our inequality that has no less than or equal to signs. And everything less than that number is going to work for this inequality. Anything less than that number. So last concept that we need to look at is infinite solutions to problems and no solution problems. So this is actually kind of fun. It's problem solving to its utmost, and it's actually really cool. I really, really like it. So we have 3 times y minus 5 plus 25 is equal to 3y plus 10. So what we need to do is we need to solve these problems, or solve this problem and understand why this is indicated an infinite solution problem. So distributive property, we have 3y minus 15, and we continue to have plus 25 is equal to 3y plus 10. Then from there, let's combine like terms. So we have a positive 10. Negative 15 plus 25 gets us a positive 10. So we have 3y plus 10 is equal to 3y plus 10. Let's think about this. We have the same thing on one side of our scale that we have on the other side of our scale. And if that's the case, that means any number that we were to put in for y, because it's going to go on both sides of the equation, as long as you're putting in the same number for both sides of the equation, which is what you should be doing, you could put any number in there. We could put 10 in for y, and we'd get 30 plus 10 at 40 on each side, and that equals each other. 40 always equals 40. We could also put negative 10 on each side. So negative 10 times 3, negative 30 plus 10 is negative 20, and that's going to equal 20 on both sides. So negative 20 equals 20, and that's always true. So this, we don't even have to solve anymore. If we wanted to, we could take it further, and we could get the y's on both sides, and if we were to do that, we could essentially subtract 3y from one side, 3y from the other side. 3y minus 3y gets us 0. So we'd have 10 is equal to 10, because 3y on the right-hand side cancels, and 3y on the left-hand side cancels. Both of those equal 0. So 10 equals 10. No duh. So now, no solution problems. Let's understand why this problem has 0 solution. We now understand why this problem on the left-hand side has multiple solutions, infinite number of solutions. Now let's understand why this problem on the right side has no solution. So we have negative 5x minus 14 is equal to 2 times 2s plus 3 minus 9s. First things first, I see parentheses, so we need to take care of that. PEMDAS tells us we need to. So 2 times 2s is equal to 4s. And 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And then we need to finish the rest of this up. We have minus 9s, negative 5. Oops, we have 2 different variables. I just realized that. We need to have, I'm going to turn this x variable right now into an s. That's what it should be. And I apparently just marked this wrong. So this is an s, minus 14. So negative 5s minus 14 is equal to 4s plus 6 minus 9s. Alright, so I don't know why everything got erased, but let's rewrite it. We essentially have, this is an s, so we have negative 5s minus 14 is equal to negative 4s plus 6 minus 9s. Didn't change up the colors. I apologize. We can deal with it. So now let's combine like terms. I see like terms on this right-hand side of this equation. 4s minus 9s is negative 5s, and we have plus 6 is equal to negative 5s minus 14. So I already see a little bit of a problem happening. We have negative 5s minus 14 is equal to the same negative 5s plus 6. And I don't really like that. For some reason, that's not sitting well with me. So let's get these s's on one side. So I see a negative 5s, and to make that 0, we could add 5s. So let's add 5s to both sides, and we get 0 and 0. Negative 14 is equal to 6. That's what's left over. Negative 14 is equal to 6. Negative 14 is never equal to 6. I do not like that, and I was wondering why I didn't like that. That is impossible. So if you ever get to a situation where you literally have something impossible, that is why there is no solution to these problems. They will never, ever, ever work. Essentially, this is not a possible situation. So let's practice a problem. Actually, we have 2 of them. So how many solutions does this problem have? We have negative 2 times 3r plus 4 is equal to negative 5r minus 8 minus r. Do this problem, pause this, do this problem, and then we'll go over the answer. Also do the next one, 4 plus 8w is equal to 8, or 4 times 8 plus 2w. Do that problem as well. All right, so we're back. Let's solve this really quick so this video isn't too terribly long. We have negative 6r minus 8 on one side is equal to negative 5r minus 8 minus r. I now see terms that I need to combine. So we have negative 6r minus 8 is equal to negative 5r minus r is negative 6r minus 8. Same solution on each side, so this is an infinite solutions equation. Awesome. That's all you need to do for this, infinite solutions. Next problem. We have 14 plus 8w is equal to 4 times 8 plus 2w. Let's start out. Let's get rid of these parentheses. So 4 times 8 is 32, and then 4 times 2w is equal to 8w. So then we have 14 plus 8w. I already see a problem. I see 8w on this side and 8w on this side, and I have 14 and a 32. I don't like this. So let's finish this up and understand why. If I were to subtract 8w, essentially get the w's on one side, 8w minus 8w is 0. 8w minus 8w is 0. So essentially we have 14 is equal to 32. Does not ever work. No solution. Boo. I don't like that problem. So that is the end of this. Now work on page 150 or 251 for your homeworks and or for your works, and do a summative assessment when you're finished. Thank you.